Hello kitty queens and kitty bitties. I'm back at y'all with another client tutorial. Today we're going to be doing this gold cut crease. So we're just stepping right into it. As y'all can see, I'm cleaning off my model's face. And once her face is clean, I'm just going to continue with her eyebrows. And to fill in her eyebrows, I'm going to be using my Nicka K eyebrow pencil. And this one is in the shade Black Brown. For this video, I'm going to be doing her brows one at a time. So once I have this brow outline, I'm just going to go ahead and start filling it in from the back and then working my way to the front. I'm going to wait and do the front of her brows last, and now I'm just going to go ahead and start on the other side. Before I go in and clean the brows, I'm taking some eyelash glue and I'm applying it to any little rebellious hairs that I see, you know, any hairs that could be sticking out. This is a great technique to use if you don't use eyebrow gel or any of that. It keeps the hairs in place all day and it's very easy to come off. So now I'm taking my spoolie and I'm just using it to mold the hairs down in place. To clean up her brows, I'm going to be using my Makeup Revolution foundation along with my Nicka K concealer. First, I'm going in with the Nicka K concealer and I'm going to be using it to clean up under her arch. The brush that I'm using to clean up under her brows was sent to me, y'all, so I'm not sure what the name of it is, but it was sent to me from Row Cosmetics. Y'all can find them on Instagram. But once I've created a crisp line underneath her arch, I just like to drag the concealer down. Now I'm going in with that Makeup Revolution foundation and I'm using it to clean up the remainder of the way. Y'all, I really had her eyebrows on fleek. Like, they look good before I cleaned them up. So I already knew once I did clean them up, it was just gonna be... Y'all gonna see. Okay, y'all gonna see. I'm taking that same Makeup Revolution foundation and I'm using it to clean up the top of her brows. I'm making sure I take my time because I didn't want to mess anything up. Now that I have the brow all cleaned up, I'm going to take my buffing brush and use it to buff out the product. I just want y'all to take a break and pause for a minute and look at this eyebrow. Like, look at this side compared to the other side. I really did that, okay? Now it's time to continue the same steps on this side just so it can be flicky like the other one. I took a little too much of her tail off when I was cleaning up the brows, so now I'm just taking my pencil and I'm reapplying where I took off. And once that's finished, I'm going to be taking my Dermablend translucent powder and I'm using it to lighten up the front of her brows and to set them in place. And as y'all can see, I did these brows, okay? Like, this is probably the best looking brow I've done in a long time. Not to toot my own horn, but toot. Okay, so now I'm applying her eyeshadow base to her eyes. And for a base, I went in with my Bperfect eyeshadow primer. And I'm buffing it out using the same brush that I used to buff out her eyebrows. Now that the eyes have been based, we're going to be jumping right into eyeshadow. So the first shade that I'm using comes from the Juvias Zulu palette, and I'm just taking the brown shade. And first I'm focusing it on the outer edge of her eye using this blending brush. And as you can see, I just took it up right under the arch of her eyebrow. And once I have the color built up, I'm also going to be dragging this towards the front of her eyebrows. Now I'm taking the yellow shade from the Zulu palette and I'm just going to be blending this over the first shade that we used. Do y'all see this beautiful blend that I have going on? Anyway, time to cut. So I'm gonna be cutting her crease using my e.l.f. matte concealer. And if you work with this, you have to work very fast, because y'all, when I say matte, it is matte and it dries so quick. But she had a very easy eye shape to work with when cutting the crease. I think this is the easiest and quickest I've ever cut anybody's crease. But yeah, like I said, I'm using my e.l.f. concealer and it's in the shade Fair Rose. Now that the crease has been cut, I'm going to take my buffing brush and use it to buff out any excess concealer. Just like that, we're finished cutting the creases. So I'm taking my yellow eyeshadow and I'm using it to blend out the edge of the cut crease. This is the same yellow that I took from the Juvias Zulu palette. Next, I'm going to be taking that brown shade I used from the Zulu palette and applying it right behind the yellow shade. I'm taking this yellow gold eyeshadow. I can't remember what palette I took this from, so I apologize, y'all, but it's just like a yellow gold, and I'm applying it to 1/3 of her eyelids. Taking this white gold pigment, I believe it's from P. Louise, and I'm just applying it to the inner corners of her eye. Y'all, this was the best decision that I could have made, because look at this pigment. Like, it shines so pretty, and it topped the cut crease off for me, okay? I don't know if it did it for you, but it did it for me, period. We're finished with the eyes for now, so we're just going to be moving on to the face. I went ahead and cleaned and moisturized her face off camera. Now I'm taking my calamine lotion and I'm going to be using it to prime / mattify her face. I see a lot of y'all comment asking me what this does, and I like it because it gets the skin very matte, and once it's like, you know, later on in the day and you start to produce oil and sweat, this will really help hold it back. So I applied it to her face. Now I'm taking my Real Technique sponge and I'm using it to really press it into her skin. I'm taking my Bougie Girl fan and I'm making sure I dry this in place before I add any foundation. Make sure you let it dry. So for her foundation, I actually took 2 Fit Me foundations. Sorry I didn't include them in the video, but I will have the shades in the description box for y'all. But I applied the darker one around the lower regions of her face. Now I'm taking my foundation brush and I'm using it to blend out the foundation. Once it's all blended, I'm taking the lighter shade and I'm just working it into the inner portions of her face. To highlight her face, I'm using my Nicka K concealer, and this one is in the shade 06. To blend out the highlighted areas, I'm going to be using the same brush that I used to blend out her foundation, just so everything can appear seamless. And when I tell y'all, all of these products really just melted into her skin. This was really a beautiful look. Like, this was just a beautiful beat. Y'all already saw that she was beautiful before we even started, but this beat was just, this was a top tier beat, okay? If you watch any of my other client tutorials, then you know I like to save the under eyes for last. So while they're setting in place, I'm just going to go ahead and contour her face. And to contour her, I'm using my Juvias Place foundation stick. And this one is in the shade Catsina. This is my favorite shade to use. And I'm also blending this out using the same brush that I used to blend out her highlight and her foundation. Moving back to her under eyes, I'm going to be using my Real Technique sponge to blend out the rest of the concealer. To set the highlighted areas of her face, I'm using my Fit Me pressed powder, and it's in the shade Toffee. And I'm just taking it on my Real Technique sponge to really press it into her skin. To set the contoured areas of her face, I'm using my Black Radiance pressed powder, and it's in the shade Black Coffee. To set the remaining areas of her face, I'm using my Fit Me pressed powder, and it's in the shade Mocha. Y'all know I love me some Fit Me. Like, Maybelline really needs to watch one of my videos and just sponsor me, because it seemed like every product that I use for the face is from Maybelline Fit Me. Like, they really snapped when they made this whole collection. They really snapped. To further set her highlighted areas, I'm taking a little bit of my Dermablend translucent powder and just applying it to her face. We're getting into the fun part. Time to work on these under eyes. So I'm taking some black gel liner and I'm using it to line her waterline, but I'm only going to be taking it like 2/3 of the way. Yeah, about 2/3 of the way. And I like to have my clients look at me just to make sure I applied enough and that it looks even. Y'all know I'm kind of a perfectionist when it comes to makeup, so it has to be right. And once I have that on, I'm taking this blue eyeshadow from the Juvias Zulu palette. It's like a turquoise, and I'm just applying it to her lower lash line, basically in the same spots that I applied the gel liner. Then for the remainder of the way, I'm taking that metallic green shade. It's also from the Zulu palette, and I'm just applying it to her lower lash line as well. Now I'm going on top of that green using this green chunky glitter. And y'all know I love color, so I always feel like I have to include some touch of color in the look, and this really made her under eyes pop. So I just love this. This was my favorite part about the whole look. I'm taking this champagne colored eyeshadow and I'm just using it as a highlighter. For lashes, I went in with some big blinks because she loves some big blinks, y'all. I think these are like 25mm lashes, I want to say, and they're pretty thick. It's just a random pair of lashes that I ordered off Amazon, and I'm just applying them to her eyes, y'all. Moving on to the lips, I'm taking my LA Colors dark brown eyebrow pencil and I'm using it to outline her lips. Now I'm taking this lip gloss from KolormeHappi off Instagram and I'm just focusing it on the inside of her lip. And once I have it applied in the center, I'm taking whatever excess lip gloss is left on the applicator and I'm applying it directly on top of the liner just to help blend everything together. Once I'm finished with the lips, that'll be the final look and we're getting into the grand reveal, so I'm just gonna let y'all watch. Okay, you ready to see?
Yes. Oh, that's pretty.
Now we went out.
Yes.
Gonna have to take some pictures.
Let me know.
Okay. As y'all can see, this tutorial was a success. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. And if you would like to see more client content, feel free to visit my Instagram. A link will be in the description box. Don't forget to follow me while you're there. Bye bye, queens.